nasty little thresh away from Reheal, and PZX is not letting Karsa have the Diana at all.
Yeah, and the one thing that got left open that was banned out last time was the Nocturne. It actually hasn't been a pick that we've seen TS go towards at all so far this split, so I think it's a good ban to change. Top Esports, ooh, first time.
Yeah,
we haven't only seen it once so far, actually. Knight has played it once, but Karsa hasn't played it. QingTian hasn't played it. They've had it left open in their drafts many times and haven't gone towards it. And now it's going to be the response for the side of V5. I would typically expect for both of these to be soul laners just for the fact that it opens up that AP jungler, but of course, can't see either of these champions go into the jungle. We just saw Karsa play the Viego. I don't think he had the best performance on it, but you know, no better time to get practice in on it than against a team like V5. Going back to what you were just saying a few minutes ago, right? What would you rather be, the team that drops games to teams not in playoffs but is able to perform against the teams you know you're going to face in best of fives, or vice versa? I definitely think as top esports, you are fine, like, hey, maybe we drop a game to the V5s, the Rogue Warriors, or any of these teams of the world, as long as we show up against the EDGs, the LNGs, the WEs.
Honestly, that feels like the top esports way in most regular seasons. There's so much League of Legends, there's so much travel you have to do, and the Rumble has been locked in here for top esports, so has seen a good few nerfs come into it now. You can't get the W start, the scrap shield to do your clear and get the overheat, so it becomes a little bit more difficult. Still has very, very good options with the ultimate, and of course the Flame Spitter and the early damage you get with that as well. But the Ziggs is also something that I'd be curious to see now for V5. Does that stay in mid lane for Uniboy, or does it go bot lane for Kepler?
I would expect it to go bot lane. I think Ziggs is much more of like an artillery piece than he is someone who can play mid lane, especially in the current state of mid lane where you have so many assassins and champions that have an easy time of getting on top of you and just being able to burst you out, to where in bot lane you can put him with the safe support, you can just look to clear the wave, farm up, which feels pretty standard for the AD carry meta right now.
Where do you want to take your bans now, V5? They're already taking away the Varus, and wouldn't be surprised maybe to see them take away the Ezreal, or no, actually they're going to go for the Karma this time around, so they're trying to stop that Superstar Doinby, the Karma carry going into the hands of anyone on the side of top esports. I don't know where Doinby came into my head at all. It's just on the mind always. I'm always thinking about him. But now top esports, they may look for a little bit more of a trade here. They could go Lulu kogmaw here, but they do risk, if they take the kogmaw, that the Lulu gets picked up here by V5, so it's a little bit risky, but they're gonna take that risk anyway. Bit of a gamble.
To be fair though, right, Ziggs Lulu sounds like a really, really extremely awkward pairing. Doesn't really have any type of synergy at all. You also have double AP in your bottom lane. You're not buffing up any sort of hyper carry on your side. I guess you have the Camille later on, but not something I would expect to come out as, ooh, Penguin, maybe I'm wrong and maybe you're the genius. I mean,
you could still go Lulu mid, but they're gonna go Kled mid.
That's true, but still, I feel like their comp would be very awkward, to where if you go for something like a Lulu, right, you want an Olaf or a Zinzao or something that you're empowering, so they are going to take the Leona, just kind of showing the Lulu, being like, hey, we know exactly what you're going to do, but at the same time, I feel like everyone knows what they were going to do because they picked the Kog'Maw, and we've only seen the Kog'Maw so far with the Lulu, so gonna have this really nice dive comp, at least dive-oriented topside coming out for TS. They're gonna have long-range damage coming out with the Paranoia, followed by the Equalizer, and then JackeyLove can just keep putting out damage with his ultimates later on in fights. Victory 5's comp, once again, I think is the more unique one of sorts, where you have this three-man dive composition where Ziggs is going to be trying to play safely in the backline, but you don't actually have any peel because you have a Leona who wants to be going in as well. I'll be interested to see how this bottom lane goes, because you have melee support against a range support for TS, but Ziggs is also a champion who could typically just neutralize any lane in bottom lane and just throw his spells at the wave, clear that out, and look to get some items under his belt. So Ziggs, very self-sufficient bottom laner. He's not typically a champion you invest resources into, and he'll just play towards the opposite side of the map.
For the Lulu kogmaw, I feel like this is, given JackeyLove's first game on the Kalista, the amount of times he was caught out, I feel like his positioning is going to be even more key coming into this particular matchup, and For Lulu Kogmaw, it is such an incredible combination. The reason why it works so well is that it actually has an incredibly strong early game. Yes, we obviously know that late game Kogmaw absolutely shreds through pretty much everybody's health bar, but in the early game, when you add on the health picks on top of a Kogmaw with his extended range on his W, you get so much damage down so quickly between levels 1 to 3 that it can actually just give you a winning lane at the end of it. So curious to see how that bot lane goes. It's going to be Knight onto the Viego. We didn't actually quite get to see exactly where that one was going, but it is going to be Knight on Viego into the mid lane, and QingTian onto the Nocturne in top. So looking to push that one in as we jump onto the Rift, and I'm curious to see now where exactly V5 put their pressure. The Diana has been seen as a, I wouldn't say a hard counter, definitely a soft counter into the Rumble. Before the Rumble nerfs came in, we saw Diana picked into Rumble quite a bit before people started preferring the Diana over the Rumble. So I'm very curious to see now if PZX can get any kind of advantage over Karsa.
I mean, the thing is, the big reason why we see Diana into Rumble is because he's one of the champions where you can just farm for free against him. You know he's not going to invade you. He doesn't really bring any sort of early dueling potential, and you're safe to get to that level 6 mark to where, sure, I feel like Rumble Equalizer can be more impactful if you have the setup available. Diana's is a lot easier because you are your own setup, and at the same time, you have an easy way to dash past the Equalizer and find the solo kill opportunities onto the Rumble later on because you are much more of a duelist, so a pick that makes a lot of sense. Going back to the Kogma point, we have seen LPL teams really fall off Kogma, and from talking to some of the teams, the big reason is just the champions that are in the meta, the Akalis, the Silases of the world, have such an easy time of getting onto a Kogma and then bursting him out before a Lulu's really able to enable him, that it just felt too hard for Kogma to thrive in a meta like this. Especially, heck, even looking at a champion like Nocturne, right? Top esports look, they're the ones with it, but you think about it, you play Nocturne Akali against a Kogma, and that Kogma's life is going to be absolute hell. So top esports not having too much to fear. The Hextech ultimatum will be something that will come out later on, and then especially PZX can be there for the Moonfall, and then Ziggs can be there for his ultimate. Maybe you could try and take JackeyLove out of the fight before any type of wild growth can really have a massive impact.
We'll still need to be careful, as I said, of the Hextech ultimatum, the Moonfall, as well as the charge from Uniboy and PZX, so needs to be a bit more respectful in that regards. PZX should have been spotted out on that ward, as it was just placed nicely on the corner. So they should know that he's moving up towards his top side, having started on his red. And for Karsa on this champion, no longer start with the W, can't get the overheat from it as much anymore, but still gives you a nice little shield to tank up these turrets. You still come out pretty damn healthy after all said and done.
And you still have, you know, the same amount of damage you did before, right? Like you still drop the Equalizer, have an insane impact in team fights. I feel like one reason we saw the Rumble start to fall off as well was you just don't have that setup necessarily there. We saw things like the set Rumble early on, but wasn't able to pan out. You're also giving a lot of agency to enemy mid laners to bring in counter picks to those sets. And then when you don't have Prio with the Rumble as well, it feels very awkward because then you can just get invaded on so frequently. And this time around, we're going to see if Karsa can pilot this one effectively, because your only real play is the paranoia Nocturne jumping in, followed by you dropping the Equalizer, and then hopefully that's able to burst someone like Kepler out of the fight right at the start.
Wait to see exactly how they want to go for it. Karsa going to be able to try and get this double scuttle. He's got priority in mid, priority in bot. So should be pretty handy at getting that one. The ward actually spots out PZX, so maybe instead of going for the scuttle, he's going to go and try and contest at these Razor Beaks. As the flash in there, I know the flash was a smite went down, as Uniboy does get unmounted from Skarl. And they have to just kind of secede this pressure now. Good moves here from Karsa. And again, this is something we see from him so often. He's so clever, he's so smart, and just knows where he needs to be and how strong he can be in these early games to mid games, especially when it comes to junglers.
Let's also, you know, talk about you have 3 prio lanes. This is like the easiest time for a jungler ever, but top esports are using it. They got down so much vision into V5's jungle already. You look, they have wards on both sides, and I'm not quite sure how many times we've seen a team lose when they have 3 prio lanes early on. It just feels like you have so many options available, right? They can look to contest second buff spawns. They can look for cross-map plays they can look to, like hover around mid with Knight, start making your way towards that side lane and look for those plays. I feel like for TS, we're going to wait till QingTian and Karsa are at that level 6 point. Then potentially what you want to do is probably try and set up either a dive on top or look to invade Diana's jungle. I don't think you'll really be playing around Knight's lane too much unless Uniboy goes for an overcommit. So if you want to utilize your semi-global on top lane, you're going to go into the enemy jungle and attack PZX. If not, because Knight does have prio so far, you can just look to roam him up towards top and then look for that 3-man dive onto Aliex.
It's been a slow early game, but not slow in the sense of gold earning for the side of Top Esports. They are nearly getting themselves a 1,000 gold lead purely from jungle and lane priority. So definitely a good start for them, and I don't really expect to see V5 look for any crazy engages until they hit this level 6. Of course, the Hextech Ultimatum and Moonfall are two abilities that we have highlighted and brought forward to say, yes, these are two things that can create space and opportunities. Is QingTian going to walk straight into the Moonfall and the Hextech Ultimatum, and now he's in a little bit of trouble. The flash forward, though, the 2 flashes away. The Flame Spitter is still burning down. Karsa needs a little bit more range, but the charge is going to be there for him on top of absolutely everything, and that's going to be 2 quick kills for V5. QingTian looking for something that just wasn't there.
And, I mean, V5, both games in a row, able to read Top Esports like a book in the early game. I mean, we talked about how they would be looking to invade the enemy jungle, right? Unless you can set up a dive on top side, there's really no other obvious play available. So they go into the enemy jungle, they get some deep wards down.
Oh, it's so smart.
Walking over to check the brush, and yeah, Hextech Ultimatum comes out, so Camille isn't forced out from the plant. And then Karsa left in a really awkward position, said that Aliex wasn't chunked out more. And at this point, right, Karsa's dead, so he's just hoping he can try and get one back in return.
QingTian pops the spell shield, and instead of going for an auto attack, PZX uses his auto attack onto the blast cone, so it counts as a spell, therefore doesn't work. It just completely mitigates it and gets it off of the Nocturne while also cutting off his retreat. Fantastic move there from PZX, and that's kill a piece of on this top side. And we talked about this combination time and time again, but when you add the power you get with something like a double trouble with the AP and AD, it just becomes very, very difficult for you to really deal with it coming into these mid-game skirmishes. It is still only equal gold, as those 2 kills pretty much equaled out the 1,000 or so that TES had found themselves, but at Top Esports, they need to be a little bit more wary of where and when they are sticking their heads into bushes, because not everyone appreciates it, you know? That could be your neighbor's bush. You don't know what's going on in there. You just gotta back away, leave it alone.
You know, where I live, Penguin, we don't have bushes or brushes. We just have cacti. So I can't understand the problems you're trying to sell me. As Top Esports, trying to find their own problems, wanting to contest V5 at this Herald. They do have Equalizer up once again.
They do. The Herald has gone down. Kogmaw and Ziggs not roaming up, so that feels like this 4v4. Top Esports do not feel comfortable going for it just yet. So they're just going to go back to their lanes, continue farming. And honestly, this bot lane is going to be PvE. Neither the Kogmaw nor the Ziggs really wants to be involved this early on. They don't really become champions till they get those first, second items and actually have decent either cooldown or, I should say, attack speed or attack range. So Top Esports happy enough to let the Kogmaw feed in this bot side as they now commit the teleport to the top. So there's going to be 4 people here. It's actually the Ziggs who comes in on top of this. So Kepler joining in on top side as they try to just take down this turret. And they will be able to get it because the satchel charge is broken.
That's the thing, right? They look for this play because they know they can push on multiple turrets because they do have that Ziggs with them. So definitely going to win out in the trade. And oh, the charge actually didn't go off. TS killed it at the last second. Not sure if Karsa maybe smited it because the smite did just go on cooldown. So that logically is the only thing that obviously makes sense. So Karsa utilizing the smite to do that, as JackeyLove picking up a bunch of plates on the bottom half of the map. So still no real gold advantage to keep track of. Now we're going to see Knight looking to counter jungle in, the Raptors away from PZX. Now for the side of TS, you would expect some deep wards to come out into the Victory 5 bottom side jungle, but with your bottom lane just recalling, karsa needing to kill some time, going to take the scrum, going to look for the bot side scuttle as well. Wait for your bottom lane to push out, I think get some wards down, and you can try and look for this dragon.
He's got to wait for his bot lane to rotate back up, I'm assuming. Just going to use his time to take away the Scuttle Crab. Make sure that they have a little bit of extra vision, a little bit of extra speed boost should they need it. PZX, though, roaming down towards this bot side. Both top laners will have their teleports available. And I'll be curious to see now how QingTian, if a fight does break out, utilizes his teleport Nocturne paranoia advantage, because the big thing I find when you have something like that is that you can deny the vision of wards, so it's very difficult for a Camille to find a teleport position if you're able to pop it off before they start their channel. So nothing happening this time around, but definitely something to look out for, as I've seen it a couple of times used in that ability, and it's always great fun to see new inventive ways of making an ultimate work in a particular situation.
There's always a creative play, and V5 looking for their own creativity, just going to clear away some of TES's vision. And TES really being anchored so far in this game by the fact that they're just winning their lanes, right? We see Knight with a massive lead in the mid lane, JackeyLove opening up a similar lead down in bot, top lane being the only lane that has evened out, and Aliex probably, yeah, it's slightly ahead as PZX finds the engage.
There's the engaged teleport paranoia going to be used now as well, as we can see JackeyLove jumping on the backside, and the puppy will get his bone Reheal taken down as well. And a nice swift turnaround here for top esports, and they may have found Uniboy, who did not get himself hidden enough into that brush. He will lose Skarl, he will lose his life, and Knight will pick up the spoils.
Yeah, really nice play coming out from TS. It was actually V5, I think, the ones who were the aggressors in that play. They walked into top esports jungle. They were trying to pick out, I believe it started off them trying to pick out Karsa, but very easy turnaround for the side of TS. And then we are back to the PvE lane that you were talking about, that is bot. We do have the Wit's End already for JackeyLove, so all inning on that on-hit damage, also facing, you know, a Ziggs in the bottom lane. I think it just makes complete sense. We're going to get in the replay. So it was actually Zhuo that Victory 5 thought that they were catching out the Moonfall coming out immediately, but with Karsa so close, able to drop that equalizer. Karsa actually flashed over the blue buff wall, so knowing that they would be able to pick kills if he just committed to the fight, and then with QingTian's TP committed, they're able to pick up the rest. So for TS, got first dragon, got a few kills under their belt. Now we're looking up, I think, towards the top side Scuttle Crab, so where QingTian does have push in that lane, but with no turret up for the side of TS, QingTian having to play a bit respectfully, knowing that certain plays can be coming out, with Diana and Camille looking to invade and try and bully him out.
And this is where it starts to get the gears turning for top esports, and V5 need to stop that freight train from hitting them too hard in the face, because you got the Stride Breaker now for QingTian. You're looking at the Divine Sunderer, the Wit's End, first items coming up across the board. You do have the Leondra's Torment, but Kepler is just not going to be doing the same level of damage compared to this kogmaw in a team fight, and that is the trade-off you take when you have something like a Ziggs. He is a great move. He's able to cover a lot of bases, especially with the extra magic damage, and being able to be self-sufficient in any lane he pretty much goes to, but it does mean that you do not get that consistent DPS going down as easily. And for V5, they need to look to try and jump onto this Void Puppy, and this Void Puppy's found themselves a Aliex has got himself a flash, will use it. Equalizer was there, but they don't want to commit it just yet. Knight will flash away as the Super Mega Inferno Bomb was jumping in onto his person. The rest of V5 will now pile in onto this turret.
Yeah, and I mean, with Ziggs, right, V5 should be able to pick up any structure that they commit numerous members to being able to take down. TS wanting to answer back in mid, not going to be able to with Aliex TP coming out, but still, this would be a good time for top esports to put down some vision into the top quadrant of V5's jungle, allow for QingTian to take this safely, and then try to default back to that Rift Herald.
Rift Herald is up and available. Karsa has just started it. There isn't a great amount of vision for either squad right now. As we have a look at a picture-in-picture replay, they almost get on top of Knight, but we can mark this as the day they almost caught Captain Knight of the left hand. And speaking of an engage, we're going to see now they're going to try and catch out the Diana. And QingTian almost certainly able to burn him down. Nicely done there. Good capitalization there from QingTian, using the vision to his advantage.
I just love how Rumble is a melee champion who does all of his damage a screen away, right? Because that's the combo. It's either Rumble with Nocturne or Rumble with Varus is the other really fun one. We don't typically see Rumble played with LeBlanc, but I think we've seen it once so far in LPL. That one was also a bit curious, where Equalizer comes out, LeBlanc double distortions over 2 walls, finishes off the kill with her Sigil of Malice and her Ethereal Chains, and yeah, I think it's always extremely fun to watch. Not sarcasm, but to be fair though, I guess that is a very hard ability to set up, right? Because I feel like we typically see Rumble ultimates completely flop. Not sure if it's still just junglers not really being used to playing a champion that has only been niche in the meta every now and then.
I think it is you'll never really praise or give high praise, at least, to a very good Rumble ult, but you'll definitely notice a bad one. I think that's the best way that I can put it, as V5 put themselves into a position of gaining themselves a dragon. They do secure that objective. It is a Cloud Soul and a Cloud Rift, as QingTian is on the bot side. There are 5 members here. The rest of Top Esports were on a bit of a rotation, so they dropped the Rift Herald into mid lane. They're going to be able to open up this mid-tier 1. Nicely done here by Shelly. Good job, you did your work, and now you can go back to the Void. As the rest of V5 now have to be that little bit more careful, especially towards that top side now that mid-tier 1's missing. It just opens that map up just a little bit more.
Yep, opens up both quadrants of the jungle for the side of TS. They pretty much already had access to both quadrants just from the fact of their early pryos from before. They're going to look to invade on top side, though, with Dragon, nowhere close to being back up. But going back to your Rumble point, I used to feel like I didn't appreciate good Rumble ultimates until you spend weeks and months watching junglers play Rumble, and then out of nowhere you see like Scout or Knight or someone get Silas, and then they steal the Rumble ult, and then they do it like 10 times better than you did every single time.
Oh, speaking of Knight, though, he's in a little bit of trouble. Oh, he get himself behind. Can he find the TP out? Yes, he can. Nicely done there by Knight. Super Agent Knight 007 here, and able to get that while they committed so many people to the top side, including that TP from Uniboy. They only lost their own TP, and they gain a turret on that bot side. So that's all 3 outer turrets now down for the side of V5, as Top Esports are starting to push in and claim their jungle for their own.
Yeah, I really like how TS are playing this. Like, sure, they did just blow a TP. I'm sure we can go back and, like, Knight probably could have done something differently, but pulling all of V5's attention to one half of the map and so aggressively pushing to the other side, right? They're timing it very well. They're doing it in unison, and they're punishing V5 to where they went into the top side, did that, stole away the jungle camps, now switched down to bot with committing Knight to top, so it pulls Diana over there, and once again taking away more jungle camps. Sure, Diana did get your Krugs, but you are infinitely getting more than her, as we can see the massive lead that Karsa has opened up over PZX.
Just looking at all the leads as well. 20 CS in top side, 30 CS or just under it in jungle, 40 or 50 CS into that mid lane, and of course 10 CS in the bot side. So this is, as you said, just Top Esports using their mechanics, their laning prowess to just keep themselves in the ascendancy, making sure they are getting the advantages they need, while also just, even if V5 find an opportunity, they're still 3,000, 2,500 gold behind. It's just very difficult to find them get themselves back into it.
So, a random question just came to my mind, Penguin. Feels like a good time to ask you. So, now we've been a few weeks removed from Udyr, obviously a few months removed from Hecarim. How do you, how you feeling since we lost the Hecarim Udyr meta? Do you miss it?
I don't really miss it, for the main reason of Flash Bear Slap can only be said so many times. I think the super fast meta of these incredible Sonic the Hedgehog and Shadow the Hedgehog junglers running around and catching out people just became very stale very quickly for me. So I'm actually happy to see things of like Diana, Viego, hell, Trundle's coming into the meta, of Olaf, these more I suppose, engaging junglers that have a little bit more skill expression, shall we say. What about you? What are you feeling about it?
Oh, I mean, it's the best thing ever, right? I mean, you have full clears now, you have early game gankers, you have skirmishers, you have things like Viego and Gwen that have only been taken in jungle a few times just because they're strong. People like Loyen can still play Nidalee, Xiaopeng can play Rek'Sai, so...
Nothing feels oppressive.
Change overall.
Like, nothing feels like you have to play it. Like, maybe Diana a little bit because it opens up so much, but, like, nothing feels like you have to play this style because it's so oppressive. And I think that's good for me, at least.
Yeah, again, the meta right now is you can literally play anything that isn't mid-lane mages, which is a total W in my book, as Alie's also going to look for the engage. QingTian's probably dead.
Yeah,
V5 going to get a W themselves.
Definitely dead as the Hextech ultimatum came down. He's going to use the hook shot, and Aliex will pick himself up. The truth of a kill. Now, top esports, they're not really in a position to trade back anywhere. They're just pushing out mid and top. They were just resetting as well to get the Brunan's Hurricane onto JackeyLove's kogmaw. So again, not really in a position. And this is just going to be QingTian not really respecting the fact that, you know, he didn't have vision control or really the 1v1. Even in a 1v1, I think he still loses.
And it's one of those things where Dragon's going to come up soon. They're not in a position where they can do Baron. I don't think JackeyLove has enough items yet for them to realistically be able to force that. With the fact that Aliex had TP, so QingTian just kind of going through the motions. And I mean, it's hard to criticize now when your whole team has done this 2 games in a row.
Yeah, it definitely feels like it's top esports having a little bit more free movement than they probably should have, and so we wait to see what way they want to go for it. Dragon is alive, and it's only the second one for either of these teams, so I don't think anyone's really going to be too bothered about setting up a massive re-engage onto that particular objective. But as we were on the topic of, we were probably going to have a little bit more time to ourselves unless a fight really does break out. What was your favorite meta in competitive? What was your, like, you were like, oh man, I love this?
2017 spring. It was the Ashe Jhin Varus with the Zyra Malzahar Misfortune, but Pedro, we have a fight!
We do have a fight. It's going to be JackeyLove completely deleted on the backside of that fight, but it is Viego getting the resets. Now has the hook shot to break down the distance. 2 kills, 3 kills, maybe even more. And that's an ace out of nowhere. All we had to do was not pay attention to the game, and it tried to punish us.
Yup. Hey, that's a win though, right? So all we know now going forward, if we want things to happen, we just need to not talk about the game, and that will come true. TS, of course, off that play, going to be able to turn onto this Baron. I think Aliex was the one who started it off, found the hookshot wall shot into an immediate Hextech ultimatum, punishing JackeyLove. But like you said, Knight able to find his way into the fight. Karsa as well, putting out all the AoE, and we are going to get an instant replay of it. There it is. Hookshot, wall shot, just straight into Hextech ultimatum. You have Ziggs right there to show the damage. Uniboy able to follow up into the thick of things. Knight already finding his way into the fight. QingTian as well doing a decent amount of damage. And then, yeah, Karsa, I'd already laid out the equalizer, but Flame Spitter doing... They just have so much AoE between them. All the abilities from V5 already on cooldown. And then V5 already in a very, I'd say, awkward position from the fact that they committed to killing JackeyLove, right? So there's no way for them to escape any potential fight at that point in time.
I think that's the big thing that you just hit on as well, is that you committed almost everything, bar the Moonfall was the only thing you didn't put in. You put in the Solar Flare, the Mega Inferno Bomb, the Hextech Ultimatum, the charge from Kled. And yes, you killed the Void Puppy, but he's not the biggest threat at the moment. Yes, he will be at the very end of this game, but right now he is just another cog in the wheel that is top esports as they get themselves the Baron. They now out of nowhere have an 8,000 gold lead or 7,500 gold lead. They're taking down tier 2s around the map, and they are just making the most out of this Baron buff as they possibly can before they look to try and go for that final blow.
So when you say JackeyLove is just a cog, what you're saying is he's just a casual. He's a pleb. He's not important.
I actually didn't realize I made a little pun during that. I meant, but yeah, you know, he is a bit of a at the moment. But we're going to move swiftly back onto the fight. So we can see the Hextech committed again with the Mega Inferno Bomb and the charge. You can see the Moonfall as well this time. But again, It's not the boy you need to be killing. It's the other teammates on side of top esports that are doing so damn much. QingTian does not want this to not be an ace. He wants all 5 deaths onto the V5 roster, and he will for sure get it. Knight gets himself another reset and gets himself another premonition off on that, but this is going to be, honestly, it could be the game. They have got the damage, and they just don't have the minion wave, though.
They're going to have the minion wave, though, so yeah, this is going to be the game for top esports, taking the win off Victory 5. The biggest hurdle they could have faced, the bottom team in the league. I feel like these types of teams always haunt top esports, but ooh, respawns for V5.
Well, the TP
it's not over, Penguin.
It's
not over.
There is no TP available. It's not over just yet. These respawns are just too damn low, but they have cracked open the base. The TP coming in on the backside is miles and miles away. Uniboy will have his charge. Actually, won't have his charge for a very, very long time. The equalizer has already come back up and has been used. You can see him there running away. Knight trying to see if he can get out as well. Kepler going to use his satchel to get himself out and take away the kill. 1,000 gold shut down for the little Yordle with the bombs. And V5, they survive, but for how much longer, Lyric?
You know, it's almost 10k gold lead. Oh, Aliex is dead? Yep, Aliex is dead.
Nice play-by-play there. Man of many talents you are, Jordan. And yeah, Aliex is dead. So positive into a negative. We're going to see a replay now of this whole fight. And this is just, again, putting everything onto Uniboy. But at the end, that's just not enough.
And they just have so much damage. Even Karsa, I think, is dealing a large portion of that, right? And the fact that they're all stacked as well, every time the Kogmaw ultimate comes out, you're layering it onto numerous members. Already has the Rune on Hurricane as well, so I'm sure JackeyLove's numbers in that fight are also probably extremely high. And then TS able to take it. We're able to take one turret down in the base, and now they're going to start making their way towards bottom side, as I'm going to actually take over your job now, and I'm going to play-by-play this as JackeyLove's running towards the bush. There's minions there. He's going to walk to a ward, and everyone's gone, and nothing happens! Break that down for me, Penguin.
I mean, honestly, you can see it just from the way V5 were setting up. They had the ward there. They knew exactly what was going on. And
the macro and the tempo,
yeah, the macro,
right?
But there's that ward. There's that ward I mentioned, and they're going to use it to TP back into maybe a fight. Uniboy is here. He's kind of alone. You have the Shirimia's Revelry, as we can see the charge, and oh my god, he's being burnt down so quickly. This now Kogmaw will burn him down. He's got himself 3 items, the Blade of the Ruined King, which is in the hand of Knight. Yep, the thumbs up. And this could be the dragon fight or even the Baron fight that could happen. You can see the flash forward. JackeyLove goes in way too aggressive, ends up giving his life, but he really does not care. They are so far ahead. They have too much damage. It's going to be the ace gotten by JackeyLove, and that is all she wrote for this particular series. It took a while. It definitely was an up and down series for top esports, but a 2-0 is a 2-0, and they will continue to climb back up the ladder that is the LPL.
JackeyLove decided it was dinner time, and you know, he might go down, but he is ending this game at this second. So, you know, thank you, top esports. They don't look too anything. They don't look too happy. They don't look too sad.
The day in the life.
Yeah, it's another step towards playoffs, and you know, here we are. It's 5:30 a.m. on the Pacific West Coast of the USA, and I cannot believe LPL has actually ended this early.
Yeah, I'm at 13:37, so late, which is a great time to end. And yeah, it's not even 2 o'clock here in Ireland, and in the Emerald Isle, and we have got ourselves, in fairness, in total honesty, we expected this. We expected a less than, I think it was almost less than an hour and a half of combined playtime or something like that. It was quick. It was very, very quick today, and this is promising signs. It shows that the 2 teams that we thought should come in and smash came in and smashed, and I think that's a good thing to look forward to, especially as we go later on into the season and of course look towards playoffs.
You know, I just love how Victory 5 looked happier after that series than TES did. I mean, you saw, I think it was PZX and Uniboy talking, like smiling and laughing,
yeah.
And I think it also goes to that thing of different expectations coming in, right? Because I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing that Victory 5 are like calm or happy, or like maybe not happy, but not down, not sad, not beating themselves up, because like you said, it's that thing of different expectations for different teams. They're coming with a new roster, all LDL talent on an org that was already struggling with the good talent that it did have last split. So they came in, they tried something new. They brought out this Ziggs pick. You saw how it could work, right? The TP top side early on was kind of interesting. They were breaking down structures, but at the same time, Top Esports were winning mid in AD the whole game. They were like 20 to 30 CS up, even extremely early on. And then QingTian and Karsa continues to be the dynamic duo of, I'd say, big playmaking. Like, they're the ones who will typically start off the fight, and then Knight will find flashy plays, pick up an MVP like he probably did this game and finish it off. And then JackeyLove, he'll be JackeyLove. He'll flash in, it'll look sick, he'll do a ton of damage, and we'll go home happy.
He is JackeyLove. I think that's the only way you can describe JackeyLove to anyone who hasn't watched LPL for a very, very long time. Is this just what he does? That is just how he plays, and we love him for it. It keeps him and in Top Esports interesting as such. High emphasis on the interesting. But again, Top Esports, they got themselves the win. They are very, very happy with that. They'll move forward. Sadly for Victory 5, they will not be getting 5 victories today. They will be going to 0-9. 1-18 now in their game score, and yeah, it's not looking great. It really is looking a bit bleak, because their schedule for the next while is not exactly a walk in the park.
No, like we hit on earlier, right? They've already played all of the teams around them in the standings. Their next match is actually probably the easiest match they have left, which is going to surprise everyone when I say the name. It's RNG. Next match is RNG. They've already played the other 3 bottom 4 teams, so RNG really being the only team left, followed by IG, who's slightly above them, and then Suning. So you don't really have any true like killers left. You still play FPX, but every other team, it is doable. You know, V5 to break the 2020 spring curse. That's what we want to see. We don't want to see another 2020 spring V5, because that team has a special place in my heart because of Y4's Bard. And this one, they don't have Y4's Bard.
No, they don't have a special place yet. They haven't reserved their booking just yet. We'll see. They might be able to win you over at some point. They might be able to get you something. You do. You did buy a V5 jersey. I really should get some more. The jerseys are so nice, but it's so difficult to get them outside of China. I should have got them when I was in China, but nevertheless, it is what it is. And for Top Esports, of course, going up to 5-2, I believe now in the standings, they will push themselves above Top Esports Top Esports, above FBX and JD Gaming. They're kind of clipping at the heels of our top 3, which are seen as, you know, our Edward Gaming 8-1, LNG 7-1, and of course we're Adam, who won earlier today at 7-2. So they're just making sure that they're not a million miles away from those particular teams, and if they need to try and push for those placements, they can, because similar to in spring, placements when it comes to playoffs is actually very important.
Fun fact, Penguin, in terms of game win rate, they actually have a higher game win rate than RA, and they're only 1% lower than LNG. They have a 69% win rate in their